I would argue, but only as to fire. You give a different analogy, I guess. We're seeing this. Would you say that there is no example of this individual undergoing punishment in verse 15 at all? The individual, not the works. Would you say we see that this individual suffers loss, and each and every time Zemiao appears in the Septuagint in the New Testament, it is in reference to punishment. And then right afterwards, we see that he is saved. I don't know how you'd say it, so or as through fire. Would you agree with me that there is a clear example, if not one, but two, or if you want to just grant one, of the man undergoing some sort of penalty or punishment, if you will?
The reason I would disagree with that conclusion is that, of course, simply because a word is sometimes associated with other themes, or even if it's several times associated with some other theme, the word being to purify excuse me, not to purify, to suffer loss, might be associated with other themes in other places, particularly when it's a sort of a pejorative term, suffering loss. It's not a positive thing, suffering loss. Normally it's not a positive thing, right?
Absolutely.
In this case, we have to let the immediate context explain what the word means. And as I said before, in this immediate context, the result, what the fire removes are wood, hay, and stubble, the things that are inferior, that aren't good. That's what's removed, and that's not a punishment. That's a benefit. It's a boon.
So, even though the passage tells us that, of course, he's suffering loss, the man is suffering loss, and he's being saved, yet so as through fire, nevertheless, of course, I would agree that this is a positive thing, because I argue that he's being purified. But nevertheless, you would think that this is all in reference to his works and has nothing to do with him undergoing any sort of punishment. Am I correct?
Right. Yes.
Okay, great. I want to refer to another brief comment you made. You wrote on your blog in reference to this passage. You wrote, the brief reference to so as by fire is a simile. And then you tell us that so as by shows us that it is not through fire. And then you say, but it is as through fire. Pretty much what you said a little while ago. In other words, you say, a person may only have the foundation left and may get through by the skin of their teeth with just the foundation. My question is plain and simple. Is there any reference to a person being saved by the skin of their teeth in this verse?
Except for the so as by fire, no. But I was just offering the skin, as I said before. I'm not offering the word skin of their teeth as though those are words that appear. I'm just offering it as another simile or metaphor, another figure of speech that conveys the same kind of concept. In other words, a person and the etymology to kind of explain it is a person who escapes as by fire is a person who runs out of a burning house with the smell of smoke on their skin. They have nothing else. The fire has burned up everything else, but they themselves are fine.
Okay, great. I want to reference 1 Corinthians 3:15 one more time since we're on this theme of fire. And could you briefly pop up the Greek there? Would you be able to do that in a timely fashion?
For 1 Corinthians 3?
15, yes.
1 Corinthians 3:15.
Yes.
I should be able to do that.
Okay, I can read it to you real quickly. Hutos de hos dia paros is what it reads. Literally, the one area that I like to concentrate on is dia paros. And I think it's really important. I'll abandon, because we can argue for days and days what the Greek word hutos means. You could obviously give it a different interpretation. I think that it means that this person is saved, but only as through fire. But I think the one thing that clinches it for the position would be diaporos, which is through fire. You say that it's not through fire. Aren't the scriptures telling us here that the person is literally saved through fire? Diaporos here? Would that not be the clear reading?
Your own whether it's the clear reading or not is difficult to say, but I can tell you this, that your church's official translation, the Vulgate, has, and this passage, si cuios opus arceret detrimentum patitur ipse autem salvus erat sic tamen quasi per ignem. In other words, that through fire is quasi per ignem. So my interpretation of this verse and the King James Version's translation, yet so as through fire, seemed to be the same interpretation that the Vulgate translators and the endorsed authentic translation, according to Trent, also take on this particular verse.
All right, my time's over. We can go ahead and we can go over this again in my next cross-examination time. Thank you for that, Turretin fan.
You're welcome.